Assalamualaikum. My name is Sara and today we are going to learn about a topic that is called matter, right? So let's talk about matter. Everything around us is made up of matter. Everything around us. If I look at my surroundings, I can see the cupboard, I can see the table, I can see the chair, I can see the water, okay, and the oxygen right now I'm inhaling and the carbon dioxide I am exhaling, right? That is actually gas. They all are matter. Everything around us, in short, is made up of matter. And matter may be a solid, matter may be a liquid, or matter may be a gas. Okay, so if we want to define the matter, how can we define the matter? Anything that has mass and occupies space is called the matter. And we have already discussed the difference between the weight and the mass in the density video. And so, in short, anything that is having any mass and that is actually occupying a space is called the matter. So now we know this, that how can we define matter? Anything that has mass and occupies space. If we talk about the states of matter, there are three states of matter: solid, liquid, and gas. Solid has fixed shape, fixed volume. Okay, for example, you have chair, you have table, your laptop, your fridge. These all are considered as liquid because they have fixed shape, fixed volume. And what do you mean by volume? Volume is the space occupied by an object. If we talk about a liquid, the properties of the liquid they have fixed volume but not fixed shape. For example, if you have a juice in your jug and if you want to pour into a glass, so the juice will take the shape of the glass. So liquids have no fixed shape. If we talk about the liquid have no fixed shape, no fixed volume. So now we know this, that there are three states of matter: solid, liquid, and gas. Okay, if we want to learn about the common property of the solid and the liquid, the particles in the solids are tightly bound to each other, right? But let me tell you, still they are vibrating. And if we talk about the liquid, in liquid the particles are far apart as compared to the solid, but they are still connected. So what is the common property of the solid and the liquid? The common property of the solid and the liquid is that both are having the same volume, and the second properties are that the particles are linked to each other. Okay. If we talk about the liquid and gases, what are the common properties of the liquid and gases? Okay, they both can be poured. They both can flow. The liquid can flow, the gases can flow, right? And the other properties is the same, is actually they both have no fixed shape, right? They both have no fixed shape and they both can be flow. But how the gas are different from the solid and the liquid? Because gases can be compressed. How the gases can be compressed? Let me tell you, out of solids, liquid, and gas, only gases can be compressed. And why the gases can be compressed? Because in gases, the molecules, the particles are far apart from each other. Okay, let's discuss about the particle theory of matter. First point, everything around us is made up of matter. Second point, each and every particle of matter composed of atoms. Each and every particle, whether it's a solid, whether it's a liquid, whether it's a gas. Each and every particle composed of atoms. Third point, atoms have spaces between them. Fourth point, and atoms are continuously in motion, right? For example, you have any solid object in your hand. You can't feel the vibration. You can't feel that the atoms inside it are moving, but yes, it's a fact. Atoms have spaces between them and they are still in motion. Okay, if we talk about the solid, in solid the atoms are vibrating in their fixed position. But if we talk about the liquid, in liquid the atoms are moving, and in gases their movement is more fast. So this was about the particle theory of matter. Now let's talk about the change of states of matter. So when the solid changes into a liquid, it's called melting. But if the liquid changes into a solid, it's called freezing. So we can say that melting and freezing are reverse of each other. And in the same way, if we talk about the liquid and gas, if the liquid changes into a gas, this is called the boiling. But if the gas changes into a liquid, it is called condensation. So boiling and condensation are reverse of each other. Melting and freezing are reverse, and boiling and condensation are reverse of each other. There are two other terms called sublimation and deposition. What is the meaning of sublimation? If the solid state convert into a gas directly without passing through a liquid, it is called sublimation. And what is called deposition? Deposition means when the gas changes into a solid directly without passing through a liquid. That is called deposition. And the other name of deposition is called desublimation. If you have ice cube in your hand, after some time you will observe that it has been converted into a liquid, right? So this is called melting, that from solid to a liquid. Okay. And if you have a water and you will put in the freezer, after some time you will observe that it has been changes into the solid. So this is called the freezing. So that's how melting and the freezing are reverse of each other. Melting means from solid to liquid and freezing mean from liquid to solid. Okay, let's talk about the evaporation. Evaporation is that, for example, the change of the liquid into a gas. You have some water. If you want to boil the water, you will give some temperature, you will give some heat, and after some time it will changes into the steam. This is called the evaporation. And what is condensation? Condensation is the reverse of evaporation. Okay. Now what happens exactly? The water vapors in our surrounding changes into the liquid. That is called the condensation. Cloud formation is one of the example of the condensation. Dew drops is another example of the condensation. And if you are taking a shower in winters and you can see the small water droplets on the surface of the mirror, it's because of the condensation, because warm air, the water vapor, when touches the cold surface of the mirror, it is called the condensation. Okay, let's discuss. We want to enjoy some burger party, so you have bring some burgers and the cold drink. Okay, और आपने वो कोल्ड ड्रिंक जो है फ्रीज़र में रख दी, एंड आफ्टर सम टाइम व्हेन यू वांट टू एंजॉय इट, आपने जब बाहर निकाली, so you can see the small water droplets outside the bottle. Yes, this is because of the condensation, because the water vapors in the surrounding, when touches the cold surface of the cold drink, water vapors that are actually the gas, when touches the outer surface of the cold drink, right, they convert water vapors into the water droplets from gas to liquid. This is called the condensation. So now let's talk about the difference between the boiling and evaporation. Evaporation is a natural process, but boiling is a artificial process. Evaporation is a natural process, and we know this, that natural process is always slow. So evaporation is a slow process, it takes time, but boiling is a quick process. And if we talk about the evaporation, right, it takes place only at the liquid surface, right? But in boiling, it takes place throughout the liquid. Because if we want to boil the water, the boiling doesn't just occur at the surface, it occurs throughout the liquid. But if we talk about the evaporation in plant, it evaporates at the surface. And if we talk about the temperature changes, in boiling the temperature remains constant, and in evaporation the temperature may change. Let me describe this step after last step. And boiling is occur at fixed temperature. We know that the boiling of the water occurs at 100 degrees centigrade, right? So for boiling we need the fixed temperature, but evaporation can occur at any temperature. So now let's discuss about the third point, that temperature remains constant in boiling. Okay, now the main point is that how the temperature remains constant in the boiling. Okay, so let me tell you, melting, freezing, boiling, condensation, sublimation, desublimation, these all are called the physical change. Okay, let's talk about what is physical change and what is chemical change. Whenever we talk about a reaction in which a new product is formed, this is called the chemical reaction. But if there is any reaction, any change in which there is no new product is formed, this is called the physical change. Okay, so basically the change of ice cube into a water. It's a physical change. How? Because the water remains water. There's nothing new, right? There's nothing new in it. And if, okay, let's take example, you have a paper in your hand, and if you have cut it into different shapes, this is called the physical change, not a chemical change, because now paper is still paper, no new product is formed. This is called the physical change, not a chemical change. But if you have a paper in your hand and you will just give it some fire and it convert into ashes, now it is called the chemical change. And let me tell you, I love cake, by the way, and I love baking cakes, brownies, and soon we will discuss the recipes of the cake and the brownies, okay? So, if you want to bake a cake, you will add the egg, flour, baking powder, cocoa powder, oil, right? And when you will put this in the oven, after some heating, it convert into a cake. This is called the chemical change, because now the product has been converted into a new product. Okay, so in boiling, in melting, there is no chemical change. Water remains water, but just the state changes. And whenever actually the temperature remains constant in the boiling, because here the energy is utilizing in changing the state. Okay, so this was all about matter. I hope you have understand. But still, if you have any confusion, you are always welcome to write down your comments. And thank you so much.